We open to 5 years ago as professional diver Jonas Taylor tries to rescue a group of divers from a wrecked submarine. Jonas succeeds in getting some of them on board, including Dr. Heller, but something starts attacking the sub violently. This forces Jonas to make a difficult decision, against Heller's protest, to abandon the submarine in order to escape certain death. They escape just in time as the unseen force destroys the submarine and disappears. Cut to present day at Mana 1, an underwater research facility off the coast of China. It is operated by a group of scientists spearheaded by Jack Morris and Dr. Minwei Zhang, and run by Zhang's daughter Suyin. Remote explorer DJ, Jax heard the aforementioned Dr. Haller, Mac, Celeste, Toshi, and The Wall. They are conducting an experiment near the ocean floor involving bypassing a mysterious hydrogen, using a small submarine piloted by Celeste, Tosh, and The Wall, and exploring what's beneath. All seems well at first, but the trio is attacked and stranded by something large and fast, causing them to lose contact with Mana 1. They later try getting power back up and running, but are attacked again, and Celeste is wounded by a screwdriver getting rammed into her stomach. The rest of the crew, after much debate, decide to take Mac's advice and call Jonas in to help rescue their stranded friends due to his experience with rescuing people from such a deep, dangerous area of the ocean. However, Heller is against this as he thinks Jonas went crazy from his traumatic experience 5 years ago and doesn't believe Jonas' claims that something attacked him and the divers he was trying to rescue. The plan goes ahead regardless. Unfortunately, Jonas has clearly seen better days, as he's seen in a Thai bar drinking regularly and pissing off local boat owners whom he keeps blowing off repairing their boats. Mac and Dr. Zhang meet with Jonas back in his room. Jonas at first tries to weasel out of the situation by offering the 2 drinks and preemptively rebuking any offers of money. In the end, however, he agrees to come along and help. Meanwhile, Suyin tries to go down and rescue the trapped crew herself in a mini-sub shortly after Jonas arrives. Jonas takes off after her to help, but not before promising Suyin's young daughter Maying that he'll bring her mom back safe and sound. Suyin quickly finds the stuck sub and preps to tow them back to the surface when a giant squid attacks her. Before it looks like her sub will be damaged, the squid is quickly killed by the culprit of the previous attack, a 75-foot-long prehistoric monster shark called a megalodon. This shark is the same one Jonas encountered 5 years back that almost killed him, thus proving his sanity. Jonas briefly lures the shark away with some flares and has Suyin escape back to the surface. He succeeds in getting Celeste and The Wall on board his vehicle. However, the shark comes back for another attack and Toshi sacrifices himself so the others can escape, stuffing a goodbye letter to his wife that he was writing earlier into The Wall's pocket. The shark rams the downed second sub, killing Toshi while everyone else gets to safety. Heller later apologizes to Jonas for not believing his claims. The situation isn't over yet as the sub's destruction has caused a temporary pocket of heat to vent upwards and allow the shark to move to normal ocean waters. While Jonas tries to leave and everyone else talks amongst themselves, Maying is playing with an RC ball through the halls but is frightened by the sudden appearance of the shark. The shark tries to bite through the hull but fails and leaves after killing a whale. The group ultimately decides to track and poison the shark to death via a small boat. At first they succeed in tracking it using Jonas to shoot the tracker onto its fin and then reel him back in, just barely avoiding getting eaten by the shark. Then Suyin goes down in a plastic tank to poison it while the others lure the shark in with chum. This leads to an intense confrontation where the shark tries to swallow the cage whole with her in it. She succeeds in poisoning the shark, but her mask breaks and she nearly drowns. Jonas dives in after her and they almost get eaten by the shark. Fortunately, the poison kicks in and the shark dies. Jonas gets Suyin back aboard and they resuscitate her back to life. The crew initially celebrates by taking pictures of The Wall with the shark's corpse before he falls into the water due to a prank from DJ. Jonas, however, notices the shark's teeth are smaller than the one from earlier. This is clearly meant to be a smaller, younger megalodon they killed. Suddenly, the other bigger shark from before arrives, swallowing The Wall whole and grabbing the other Meg's corpse off the boat with its teeth. This causes the boat to get capsized and Dr. Zhang is severely injured in the process. The shark comes back around to try and eat Jax, but Heller sacrifices himself by distracting the shark to him instead and he gets eaten. The surviving crew escape using motorboats and Morris calls in a support helicopter to shoot at the shark, successfully chasing it away. However, Dr. Zhang dies from his wounds in the boat, but not before tearful last words of pride to his daughter. Later that night, Morris tells the crew that they're shutting down Mana 1 and the authorities in multiple Asian countries have been called to deal with the shark. However, it turns out he's lying through his teeth, and he actually called in some minor military support to try and kill the shark on his own using depth charges dropped from the helicopter. He goes out on a boat with some others, and it seems to work at first, only for it to turn out they just blew up and killed a whale by accident instead, luring some nearby regular sharks to feast on its corpse. Morris gets knocked off the escaping boat and tries to climb up the dead whale, only to be eaten whole by the shark. The crew finds out the shark is heading for a nearby popular beach in China and plans to lure the shark away from the beach with whale noise recordings and then torpedo it to hell with the mini-subs. The shark initially attacks a nearby Chinese wedding party on another boat and seemingly eats the bride's dog Pippin, before briefly terrorizing the locals at the beach. It stops attacking when it hears the whale noises and takes the bait. This leads into a massive chase between Jonas and the shark as he leads it to Suyin, who hits it with a torpedo, but it does nothing. Even worse is that Jonas' torpedo won't fire. During the fight, a group of news helicopters trying to film the action stupidly crash into each other, and the wreckage crashes onto the team's boat, forcing everyone into the water. Suyin goes to help the others, while Jonas, in an attempt to protect everyone, goes head-on with the shark, slicking its underbelly open badly with the sub. He then gets out of the sub once the shark tries mauling it and stabs it through the eye, mortally wounding it. A dozen regular sharks move in to finish it off and eat it alive, ending the threat. With the danger past, everyone regroups aboard the wedding couple's boat, including Pippin the dog, who turned out to have survived. Jonas and Suyin are presumably now a couple. The movie ends with everyone celebrating their victory, and the oceans are now safe. The film opens during the Cretaceous period. Several creatures prey upon the smaller animals, before a T-Rex goes after the little but deadly dino predators called snappers. Then the Meg leaps out of the water and chomps down on the T-Rex before dragging its bloody corpse underwater. In the present day, Jonas Taylor emerges from a shipping container on a boat sailing across the Philippine Sea. He is there to stop a group of men from dumping toxic waste into the ocean. After gathering his information, he proceeds to beat down the goons before he jumps into the ocean and is saved by Mac and Rygas in their chopper. At an oceanic institute in China, Jiuming Zhang is testing out an exosuit made for working underwater. He is the uncle of Meiying and brother of Suyin, who has passed away recently, and Jonas has stepped up as a parental figure to Meiying. They attend an event for the institute, headed by Jiuming's business partner Hilary Driscoll. Jiuming pays tribute to Suyin and their father and vows to continue ocean-based research in their honor. Jiuming then presents Heike, a captured megalodon that appears to respond to his commands. Meanwhile, Jonas notices a suspicious man named Montez eyeing him at the event. Jiuming tries to do a test where he uses a device to make noises that would keep Heike away from him. During the second run, Heike does not appear to listen, and the crew gets worried for Jiuming until he re-enters the station unharmed. Jonas says Jiuming is being reckless and shows concern for Heike's behavior. When the crew leaves her unattended, Heike ends up breaking through the vents and swims into open waters. Jonas joins Jiuming, Mac, Rygas, and DJ head to the Mana 1 research facility to explore the Mariana Trench, meeting with another analyst named Jess. Meiying stows away despite Jonas telling her to stay behind for safety. While going underwater in a sub, the crew notices Heike has gone loose and is with two other Megs. Meanwhile, Montez is leading a mineral farming operation before noticing the Mana 1 crew nearby. He blows the whole thing up, killing his own crew and causing the other sub to crash. Montez then reports to Driscoll, his boss, who tells him they need to prevent the Mana 1 crew from finding their work at the station. After everyone picks themselves up, Mac determines that the sub was sabotaged. The crew exits the sub using the exosuits with limited oxygen to make it to the nearby station. One crew member, Lance, gets killed after being pulled away by underwater creatures, while another one, Sal, gets chomped up by a Meg after pushing a fellow crew member away. As they arrive at the station, one other crew member, Curtis, has her suit implode before the water is drained since her helmet cracked. The crew then begins to look through the station to find a way to call for help. They turn on a video monitor and contact the station, where they learn that Jess is part of Driscoll's team and has betrayed the others. She releases the escape pods they needed and orders Rygas to shoot Jonas so that at least Meiying can return, but Rygas cannot bring herself to do so. Driscoll then speaks to the crew and reveals she is planning to steal Jiuming's technology for their operation. In order to get out, Jonas finds another sub and tries to drain the water out, but he passes out and is caught by Montez. Jonas. He reveals he has a personal grudge with Jonas because he had him imprisoned a while back for his criminal activities. They get into a brief fight, but Jonas is able to get the crew onto the sub to get out of there. Meanwhile, Mac and DJ watch video footage showing Jess sabotaging the sub and learning of her deception. Driscoll's mercenaries go after them, but the two manage to jump into the ocean to get away. Unfortunately, they are caught anyway. Jonas and the crew make it back to Mana 1 and fight the mercs to free Mac and DJ. The Megs then start making their way to the station as Montez rejoins Jess, who is his girlfriend. Jess speaks to Driscoll and assures her she is behind Meg-proof glass, and then one of the Megs chomps through it and swallows Jess whole, leaving Montez distraught. The station then starts to take in water, so the crew boards a raft to get away. The mercs follow them in their own raft, but they become Meg food as well. The crew starts making their way toward a resort called Fun Island, while Jonas is creating harpoons with explosives and poison to use against the Megs. Montez then starts going after the crew with the remaining mercs. Nearby, a boat with other tourists gets pulled into the water by a giant squid. Driscoll and her team attempt to fly off the island, only for the snappers to emerge. One of them drags Driscoll away to her death, while some of the other mercs have unfortunate encounters with them as well. The crew then tries to get the tourists out of the water as the Megs begin to show up and start devouring some of the guests. Jonas tries to save some people, while DJ, Mac, Rygas, and Joming split off to help as well. Maying also dives into the water to help rescue people. The four encounter the remaining mercs, who hold them at gunpoint until Mac gets DJ to open a door, allowing the snappers to come in and eat them so that they can run away. Mac and Joming find Driscoll's chopper and start to make their way out, setting the snappers on fire as they charge toward them after spraying them with jet fuel. Jonas is able to kill one Meg by jamming the explosive harpoon into its face, but before he can go after the next one, Montez goes after him. They get into another brief fight before Jonas kicks Montez into the ocean just as the Meg leaps out and eats him. The squid then causes havoc on the resort and kills more people before Joming creates a bomb and jams it into the squid's side. Heike then swims in and kills the squid. The last Meg goes after Jonas after he draws attention to it, and he uses a broken chopper blade to impale the Meg through the mouth. Jonas, Mac, and Joming get in the water to swim back to land, but Heike starts coming their way. Joming uses his device to get her to swim around them and turn around. He thinks she really does listen to him, but Jonas suggests she is following dolphins. The three get back to the beach with Rygas, Maying, and DJ. Joming suggests that Heike got out of her enclosure because it was mating season and she might be pregnant. Jonas says it's better not to think about it while they sit to have drinks and enjoy their survival.